And we can start with the agenda. Has everyone read the agenda? Does anyone have anything to add? Any objections to the agenda as it is?
Because it wasn't online at the time.
Without hearing any, the agenda is approved as is. Introduce guests. All right, I see online, and then we can introduce the guests in person later. I see Blake.
John is waiting to get in.
All right. Blake Lawler, David Gold, Kevin Gilbranson, Ross Clough, Stephen Porter, our guests here, and I think I saw Karen Ann in the room, and Wayne Harlows. Is anybody else in the room in the Independence Institute, David?
Blake Huber.
Blake Huber. Okay, we'll go with 3 minutes for get up to 3 minutes each for guests to introduce themselves, say whatever they'd like to say, if they want to. If not, they don't have to. We can start with the people at II and then go in the order that I read a minute ago.
Blake, do you have anything to say?
Yes, hi, I'm Blake Lawler, new to the Libertarian Party and trying to get involved and see what I can do to help in whatever way I can.
Welcome, Blake. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Does Wayne or Karen want to say anything?
Okay, we can't hear Karen.
No, not at this time. I'll save any remarks for the LMC Secretary report, and I'm speaking as the Douglas representative.
Okay, thank you. Does Wayne want to say anything?
I'll wait until public comment time.
This is.
It was.
Okay, if people at the Institute are going to speak, they need to come to the microphone.
Yeah, Karen just said that she was not going to speak at this time. I don't know what Wayne said.
Well, I will. Has the agenda been approved?
David, could you ask Wayne to come to a microphone or to a computer so we can hear him?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Has the agenda been approved?
Yes.
It has been. Okay, well, I think Steve Gallant had something he wanted to say before the agenda was approved.
I can barely hear people.
I think Steve Gallant had something to say before the agenda was approved.
Steve Gallant has something to say during his time.
Oh, okay. Very good.
You wanted to add something to the agenda?
He did.
You did, okay.
Yeah, earlier. Thank you.
Okay, then yes, I do want to say something. Whose computer is being used right now for the?
I can barely hear Victoria.
Yeah, me neither.
Can he
You
talk
gotta get him to stand by a
microphone?
microphone.
I'll go.
Yeah, I gotta talk.
I'll go ahead and speak here, guys. Public comment gives me an opportunity to express some of my concerns. And what I'm concerned about right now.
Yeah, I can't hear a word.
No, can't hear you. Wayne, you need a microphone. David, do you want to translate for him?
Can you guys hear me okay?
No, we cannot hear you.
No.
Let me use David's headset. Maybe that'll work better.
Much better.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
Perfect.
you now.
All right, my apologies. I guess I want to express some of my frustrations that we've had with the way yeah. Is there a way to get rid of that echo here?
You have
Oh,
to
it's
turn
been
off
so
the
close.
volume on a computer.
Okay, maybe that solved the problem.
There you go.
Yep,
Sounds like it did. Okay.
Yep.
The reason I'm here speaking before the board tonight is to express some of my concerns in the way that the chain of events in the last 2-3 weeks have been coming down. It is totally inappropriate. We had a meeting in November, and we had 3 vacancies that were not filled. Victoria told me that she was going to, excuse me, Madam Chair told me that she was going to fill the vacancies at the December meeting. The December meeting came, and apparently the 2 of the affiliates, Boulder and Jefferson, had appointed their representatives. And even though that is beyond the deadline, I'm not going to raise a stink about it, but that still left Delta. And we were told at the end, before the adjournment of the November meeting, that the appointment of the last 3, at that point we thought there was 3 vacancies, at-large vacancies, would be filled at the December meeting. They were filled at the December meeting. That is correctly done. And now we have Mr. Seebeck on the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. Now, I know there are people that don't care about anything other than making sure that Mr. Seebeck is not.
Mr. Harlow, you're out of order. We will hear from that issue when Mr. Gallant raises the issue and when the parliamentarian who has been invited to the meeting by several different people will be here shortly, and we will hear about it then.
Well, I'm here.
Madam Chairman, John Pickerel.
Yes, Mr. Pickerel.
On what grounds is Mr. Harlow's out of order? I thought he was just making a public comment.
He's speaking to something that already happened last meetings, something that's already happened before that he's already spoken to. He is being redundant and way out of order. Can he wait until the part of the agenda where that is going to be brought up?
I think he's entitled to his 3 minutes, spend it 3 minutes however he wants.
Oh, when he's being rude when he's being disrespectful to the board, being disrespectful to people on the board and misrepresenting my statements, I don't agree, but okay, we'll hear him out for the last time ever. You have to unmute yourself, Wayne. You have to unmute yourself.
I know I'm on a computer that I'm not familiar with. I had to have David's help. I never misrepresented anybody's position here. I just want to make sure that we get all the facts out on the table. And we had a point of order that was raised after the December meeting that said that the appointment of Mr. Seebeck was out of order because we had made the appointment in November, filled the body of the committee in November. That is not correct. We filled the body of the meeting in December. Now, we have a committee member that is on the committee, and the chair took a unilateral position and agreed with Mr. Hirschman's point of order, and without bringing it to the board for an opportunity for appeal, she made a unilateral decision. That is totally inappropriate, and I hope this is brought to the table tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Harlows.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Harlows.
I just wanted to make it clear. I know that the board can deny me, but I had something to say on this issue, but I was waiting for the agenda item to come up and was going to request indulgence of the board to speak at that time. That's why I'm not speaking in public comment.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else during public commentary that would like to say anything? Mr. Gold?
Thanks. No, I'm a Colorado entrepreneur, libertarian at heart, active in the blockchain space. Really just here to learn more about your workings of the party as I'm very interested in.
Awesome, glad to have you. Mr. Porter?
Hi, my name is Stephen Porter, and I've been probably thinking and acting in libertarian ways most of my life, but just kind of realized that this is the party that I'd like to really get involved with and help grow. And so I've been in Colorado for about almost 20 years and really want to try to make a difference in my government. I think the government needs some help because it's become too big. And so at any rate, thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Let's see who else is here. Any other guests that would like to say something? There is a 720 phone number. I'm not sure who that is. Somebody calling from a phone?
720?
Yes,
That's me.
720.
And who are you?
Mark Goddard.
Glad to have you here, Mr. Goddard.
Yes, the parliamentarian's here.
Awesomeness. Thank you for being here. Anyone else?
Blake Huber.
Visiting Blake Huber. Mr. Huber, go ahead. We can't hear you.
Let me speak a little louder. Can you hear me better now?
Not quite.
Okay, I'm gonna move around.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
As
you
they
now.
say, as they say on the TV. So I'm Blake Huber. Many of you know me. I've been around the Libertarian Party for a number of years. I was recently part of the Approval Voting Party. We've grown our membership in the last 2.5 years from 0 members to almost 3,000. I feel as though I've done what I can with the Approval Voting Party, and I've come back home. I am now a registered voter in the Libertarian Party of Colorado.
Woohoo!
Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I'm home. Love you guys.
We are happy to have you home.
Great. And I want to be involved at any level in any way I can to help out.
Awesome. Awesome.
We have a great opportunity. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk just for a couple minutes. We have a great opportunity to find the politically homeless after the debacle in November. So we need to get busy and find people who are disenchanted with what's happened and find people who truly believe in what we believe and get them registered as libertarians. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huber. Okay, what should we appoint him onto the board for what? Those are very dangerous words when you say you want to help. You know, you come to the Libertarian Party, you want to help, you're going to end up with something. Mr. Goldbranson, do you have anything to say? Or it looks like Kevin is on.
Hello there.
We can't really hear you.
I don't know how to yeah, where's the microphone on this thing? Can you hear me now?
Barely.
Not really.
Not really. In that case, I really have nothing to add.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbranson. Now continuing with the affiliates reports. Do we have someone from Adams? No. Arapahoe?
Madam Chairman.
Go ahead.
All right. This is Eric Mulder speaking, switching from LP Colorado Vice Chair hat to LP Arapahoe County Chairman hat. We will be holding our first Arapa Happy Hour of the year at 6:30 tomorrow night. We will be hosting this online because we don't have any venues that are as yet taking enough people. And our guest speaker will be dropping in live from Nevada, who is none other than the Libertarian Party of Washington State's very own Anthony Welty. You may recognize his name. He was one of the candidates who ran in 2020 for the position of Washington State Insurance Commissioner. They have a primary system there where only the top two go on. And even though he did not go on to the general election, he received more votes and raised more funds than any other libertarian in history for that position. So we're very excited to hear Anthony's take from the campaign trail, and perhaps he's willing to impart some secrets with anyone else who has ambitions for 2022. We got a lot of races and we got a lot of people who are getting ready to run. So if you would like to participate in Arapa Happy Hour tomorrow, you can message me at chair@lparapahoe.org, or you can message the county party on Facebook. And we will also be hosting our first quarterly board meeting at 6 o'clock. Guests are welcome to observe the proceedings. We will make it quick and make it short because Arapa Happy is much more fun, and listening to our guest speakers is a lot more fun. So 6:30 tomorrow, message the county party if you want the information. Thank you.
Thank you. Boulder County. Chaffee. Delta. Denver. Anyone from Denver, Ann? Kyle? No?
Yes.
Yes. Delta. Denver. Go ahead.
Yeah, the LP of Denver has their next meeting. It's actually our annual meeting. It'll be on Tuesday, the 19th at 6:30, and it'll be on Zoom. And that's all I have.
Is the Zoom call on the website, or where can they find the information about the meeting?
We'll be putting the link on the, I guess we probably should put it on the website as well. We'll also have it on the Facebook page for the event.
Thank you very much, Denver. Douglas?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
If the people in the room could mute their mic, their speakers, because I can't hear with the echo. Okay, thank you. I'm going to speak somewhat briefly. We're having a special meeting of the Douglas County Board tomorrow that I wanted to make the state party aware of. I'm going to state an opinion. It's not intended to be inflammatory, but it is a view that we have in Douglas, that the state party has been running a bit roughshod over both members and affiliates at this point. And tomorrow, hopefully part of my motion will be unnecessary, but I am going to be asking the Douglas affiliate to either pass some resolutions, or even as much as a vote of no confidence against certain actions of the state board, including the debacle that is going on with the ping pong on these bylaws appointments that are about personalities and not about proper procedure. But also because of concerns that the Douglas affiliate has that the bylaws committee itself is being ran completely improperly according to our bylaws and our parliamentary authority. And there's been numerous objections to that have simply been ignored. We, as an appointing body to at least part of that committee, do have a say in how it's being run. And I am asking the Douglas affiliate tomorrow to officially state it is not well pleased. And if that resolution is passed, it will be read to the convention delegates at convention. We would like to avoid that. So that's why I'm giving the board notice. If this bylaws appointment issue is resolved tonight, that will be a dead issue. And if the bylaws committee chair would agree to start holding actual meetings with actual procedure, I will not have a need to bring any kind of motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harlos. Albert? El
John?
Paso.
You're up.
John?
The the affiliate report.
No, we can't hear you. You might have to adjust your mic settings.
If I brought my headset, I'd be fine. Okay, can
Now
you hear me now?
fine, yes.
Okay, we had our annual convention on Saturday. We elected a new chair, Nathan Fouch, and a new vice chair, Ed Duffett, secretary, Ed Duffett, treasurer, John Jersman, outreach director, Judy Darcy. And we actually, to my surprise, we approved the Martha's Rules of Order as our parliamentary authority, our model. I brought a couple of copies if anybody wants to see it.
We've got copies.
That's about it. Okay, that's about it.
I'd love to see those. Thank you. Jefferson County? Ross?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. Yeah, I'm Ross, the chair of the Libertarian Party of Jefferson County. We have our monthly meeting coming up on the 21st. The bowling alley, which is Colorado or Holiday Lanes, Colorado, is open again, which is great. So we will be there. We'll also have Zoom remote capability as well. And the meeting is on our Facebook page, Libertarian Party of Jefferson County. And it'll also be posted on our Twitter page as well, and on the state page. Our topics, we'll have basically three main topics. The first is the zooking that's been going on by our some of our favorite social media platforms like Facebook. And the latest on that is Ron Paul actually got zooked on Facebook. And the Facebook, actually, they're a private company. They can handle it the way they want. But what is a pain about them is they've failed to say why you've been zooked. So it's pretty hard to avoid, except they say you're not beating the community standards when you really are. But besides that, they don't say which post was a violation or anything like that. They just suspend your account or temporarily disable your account. So we'll talk about that. The second item is we have some scary legislation coming in at New York, which allows detention of people that they suspect might be contagious with some kind of disease. And there's multiple really scary things about it, but one of them is they can actually detain whole groups of people, and there's not a time limit on how long they can detain people. So basically it would legalize the Japanese, the camps that they had in World War II, which screwed over the whole Japanese population. And there's absolutely no evidence that they need to actually detain anybody because the language says may be contagious. They're not even required to prove that somebody's contagious before they detain them. So it's extremely scary legislation that New York has. And normally we wouldn't really care about what New York's doing, but that legislation is so scary that it's hard not to. Then the third item is we will also get an update on what's going on with the bylaws committee, and Betty Rose will be there to give an update and talk about different parliamentary procedures and things like that, which I know almost nothing about, so that'll be interesting. So those are the topics that we'll be talking about, and I hope everyone can make it.
And when is this meeting again?
It's on the 21st at 7 p.m.
21st. That's Thursday.
Yep.
Thank you, Ross.
Yep. Thanks.
Mesa. Nobody here from Mesa. Pueblo.
Yeah, this is John Pickerel, Pueblo County. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, the 19th is our next meeting. I will say that I don't have a whole lot to report other than we continue to hold meetings at the Senate Bar and Grill. Luckily, Pueblo was just moved from red to orange, along with most, I think, other counties, so we can actually keep on holding our meetings. We were not able to hold a meeting last month. I don't know if you know Jim Wiley. He's a Pueblo Libertarian. He's going to take more of a leadership role for our development group. Some of you might know Jim. He organized all the convoys for Joe Jorgensen here in Pueblo County. Not only did he do it on the day where the national convoys were, but he continued to do it every weekend after that until the national convention. So I was really pleased to hear that Jim's going to step up and take a leadership role. He's a lot younger than I am, so I think that he brings a lot to the table. So anyway, I just want to report that it's great news from Pueblo.
Thank you, Mr. Pickerel. LNC, Ms. Harlow. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. If you guys could please silence your speakers. We had our monthly LNC meeting. Oops, something happened to my screen here. 1 second. We meet via e-meeting, and several important things had happened at that meeting that I'd like to update you on. We did adopt an official social media policy for volunteers, which is something that's been a long time coming. But the things I think would be of most interest to you is that there is an anti-transparency movement on the LNC. There's a secret internal LNC list that had been being used for things other than items that our bylaws say are qualified for executive session, and the LNC declined to delete it. So basically my response to that is anytime somebody sends an email to there that doesn't qualify for executive session, I'm just going to forward it to the public list. I'm not going to sit by while we destroy the rights of members to see what is going on. Not that anything nefarious had, it's just, we shouldn't ask you to trust us. That's not how leadership works. We also created an alternate voting committee to be parallel with our ballot access committee to start working with various alternative voting organizations and states and to act as a clearinghouse for that. That was in fact my motion. It's something I've been championing for a while. And also the chair very helpfully amended the motion to add pursuing proportional representation, which is very ambitious. And I was glad he added that. So applications will be open for that soon. As I'm wont to do, I only made one of the seats be required LNC. I think we're way too LNC heavy on our committees. So I'll let you know when those we solicit those applications. National Bylaws Committee applications are now being solicited. Next week, Credentials Committee will be solicited. The week after that, Platform Committee will be solicited. And lastly, Ms. Epke made a motion that would limit LNC participation on committees to 3 committees in order to spread the wealth and build our bench, which I think was also a very wise move. So that's pretty much it for the LNC.
Thank you, Ms. Harlows. Has everyone read the minutes? Any changes? Is it all approved? Are there any calendar items? Mike?
No new calendar items at this time.
Okay, there was a request by the parliamentarian that we go with the motion by affiliates first because he has limited time. And then we can continue with the rest of the board reports if there is no objection. Would Steve like to go now and do this? Is there any objection by the board for changing the order? Without any objection, I'm going to allow Mr. Gallant to go first.
Yes, I move that we solicit a determination from a registered parliamentarian concerning the LPCO board's December 2020 Constitution and Bylaws Committee appointment.
Correct. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead, Mark.
That is correct.
Someone else. Hang on.
So a lot of information has been brought to my attention on the conduct of the party, the state party on November and its roles and duties. It is my understanding that the bylaws committee members or soon to be members were supposed to be nominated and appointed at the November meeting. And it's my understanding that some or not all of those open positions were filled at that meeting. That puts the party in lapse of its own principle, its own bylaw. That's section 2 of what, bylaw 6, let me pull it up, under state parties, under state committees. And so any nominations that came after that, it is my opinion that they would be invalid. So if they were filled, all those positions that were filled in December violates section B of Article 6, section 1 of our own bylaws. And so therefore, all those appointees are therefore not valid. And if we're going to hold ourselves to the party of principle, we should probably follow our bylaws. And so I would unfortunately have to say all nominations that came subsequent to that, all those appointees from those affiliates that were appointed in December or thereafter are not valid. Is there any questions on that?
Question for the parliamentarian.
Go ahead, please.
What about the appointments by affiliates? Are those considered separate?
Well, if you read section B, they have to follow the same section as subsection A. And the key sentence is every chartered affiliate may appoint one member to each committee. Should an affiliate not appoint a committee member, the board may appoint an additional at-large member at the time of committee formation. The committee, by my understanding, was formed in November. The appointments needed to be in November, not after November, because that's not at the time of committee formation.
Thank you.
So if the committee was formed in November, the appointments needed to be completed in November. Now, for whatever reason, why they weren't, that's not my business. I don't care. But nonetheless, the duty was not performed for whatever reason, and it was performed after the fact. And unfortunately, you can't get the shit back in the horse.
Understood. Thank you.
So, yep.
I have a question if.
Sure, go ahead, Karen Ann.
Okay, if you guys could mute your microphones, please. I just get very distracted. Mr. Goddard, I also believe there are principles of equity at play here, and that the whole purpose of bylaws and rules is to serve justice, not to serve the rules for the rules' sake. At the November meeting, an objection was raised by the membership, since these are committees of the convention and not of the board. And we were told at that meeting, so an objection was timely raised about those appointments. And we were told that at the December meeting, they would be completed. So I absolutely dispute the fact pattern that the committee was fully formed in November. And in fact, if that is the case, then what was allowed to happen is actually against equity, because what the chair then would have effectively done is purposely ran out the clock and then said, oh, too bad, time is expired, when a timely objection was raised at that meeting. And the answer to the objection was, this will be handled at the December meeting. You cannot have it both ways. Either the deadline was in November and the rights of the members had to be protected in November, or through its chair, the party extended the deadline to December. I believe equity, and not to also disenfranchise two affiliates in addition to the disputed thing. Equity demand.
I see it as a two-step thing. The first question I have is, were the at-large members nominated at the November meeting?
Yes.
Then the committee was formed. So that one is pretty simple. Now, whether or not an objection was raised and dutifully executed, because all objections need to be addressed, I cannot speak to that. If it is in the minutes, I'd be glad to review them, but my understanding is there was no minutes of that particular exchange. So with that said, there is nothing in the bylaws that say you couldn't make amends to, it doesn't say that you can't add on at a subsequent meeting. But in this case, it sounds like it was not germane. It didn't actually move to the next meeting. So that when the gavel hit at the November meeting, that was the end of that meeting, and that's when the committee was formed. Anything subsequent to that is just trying to add on to the pile. You can't do that. Once the committee was formed, it was formed, and that's the starting point. The ending point was the end of that meeting. So unfortunately, any additional nominations and appointments seem to me to be still invalid, whether or not it was purposeful, or if it was accidental, or a failure of just following through on policy. I cannot speak to that. That's not my job. But my job is to just say that the appointments are invalid, and there's not much that we can do about that now. The party, by its own bylaws, has locked itself into this position. And by potentially failure of executing the bylaws properly, that's a means of discussion between the board and the party members.
Mr. Parliamentarian, I have one follow-up question.
Sure, please go ahead.
It is my position that because there's no penalty really listed for timing, and the timing is it's an arbitrary construction just so that the committee has enough time to deliberate. There isn't issues of member notice and the like. It is my position that that timing issue, because this board has blown it multiple times in the past without penalty, not this board, but you know what I mean, the party, that it is a bylaw that is in the nature of a rule of order, which is suspendable by 2/3. And the appointment of Mr. Seebeck at the December meeting, in fact, did pass by 2/3.
It was not 2/3, but
yes, it was. I looked at the minutes.
Well, regardless, I understand your position, because the rule basically says you people don't get to participate, which is really dumb when we're looking for people to join the party and be part of the process. And here's our rule hamstringing us and saying, oh, not this year because our rule says no. And unfortunately, I don't see a way to extend that and be not in conflict with the bylaws, because the board itself does not have the power to augment the bylaws. That's something that only the body can do. So unfortunately, there's no, hey, let's go revisit this and try and make it work, because we have people who want to do it. Unfortunately, it was the failure of execution of the process and getting the process complete on time according to our own principles that has us in this situation here today.
Mr. Parliamentary, may I ask a question?
Sure, Wayne, go ahead.
If there was a promise that what was considered to be unfinished business, and that was the final appointment of the at-large members, there was 3 vacancies at that point, and when that was put forth at the meeting before adjournment, that it would be carried over to November, does that not mean that the committee is not formed?
If you have something in the minutes that can substantiate that, that's something I have not seen. There's something in the minutes that say, yep, or maybe an agenda. Was there an agenda produced for the December meeting that had unfinished business?
Nope.
Then unfortunately,
there was no unfinished business on there at all.
Well, it sounds like to me then that there is no justification to say that the meeting was to be continued. Other than the people that were there maybe heard the meeting continued, but if there's no official record that the meeting was to be continued, I have to go with the facts that are presented to me now, and the facts say that the meeting was supposed to be, all the appointments were supposed to be concluded at November, just as, and you appointed 5 at-large members. That tells me the process was started. So that's the formation. The conclusion of that meeting was the formation of the committee.
So am I understanding correctly that the appointments of Boulder and Jefferson County are also not allowed?
Not valid.
They're also
not valid. Not valid as well. Because it's not to a single person or entity. It is to everyone who failed to be nominated and appointed at that November meeting.
So because of my, I'm going to try and use a good word, because of my mess up of not having everything, like having the affiliates on there and asking them for their appointments, they're still not valid, correct?
Well, as you know, the party is, has many, many deadlines that it must meet for its members on when such and such must happen and when it must happen. It is the duty of the board and of you, Madam Chairman, to make sure that all deadlines are met as part of the oath of the office, so to speak, that you have to be conscientious, you have to be prepared, and you have to have those deadlines met. They can't be met after the fact.
I speak.
Steve, go ahead.
I believe that a nominations cut off at the time of committee formation. It applies to the at-large nominations by the board. I don't think it affects nominations from the affiliates.
Well, part 2 or part B says that the board shall solicit one committee on the charter to blah 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 pursuant to subsection 1. So it's saying that the affiliate members are under the same guidelines on when solicitations have to happen, how many months before, and so forth. They have the same qualifiers as an at-large member. And it seems to me that if you had an at-large members already ready to go, why were the affiliates not? So, and because I was too busy or I forgot or something happened and we didn't get them in time, unfortunately is not satisfactory to overcome our own principles of the bylaw. It seems to me that the board made a mistake, and that's okay. We're all human. Boards make mistakes. It has ramifications. And unfortunately, I don't want to alienate anybody from the party, but if we're going to stick to our own principles, this is what the principle says. Now, if we want to violate our own principles, we can be Republicans. And you can go ahead with your...
Ms. Carlos has her hand up. She's had it up for quite a while.
So unfortunately, for whatever reason, the board did not finish the business that it was charged to finish in the time period it was charged to do it. And nothing can override that unless the bylaws were overwritten. And only that can be done in convention. Even though I happen to personally agree with Mrs. Harlow that it does turn away people because it's law for law, it's rule for rule's sake, unfortunately, but we are a party of rules. That's why we have them.
Okay, Ms. Harlow has her hand up and she appears to be rolling her eyes and shaking her head. Do you have something?
Okay. Well, I don't need to know all that. Does someone else have a question for me?
This is Bruce Griffith on the board. I have a point of information, and that's strictly, I can't follow along with where we are because we have no devices here that I can look at. And I can't turn mine on because it has sound that I can't turn off. So my point of information is this: where in the agenda are we? Are we still in the 3 minutes per visitor? Or
No,
have we
we
moved
are
on to
in-
an agenda item?
We are in the first agenda item. The affiliates director brought up a motion to conclude the issues of the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. So
We adjusted the agenda, Bruce, so I could speak because I have to go in 5 minutes.
Thanks. Point of order.
Yes.
Point of order is this. Parliamentarian is here at our invitation. He provides advice to the board, but he is not the controlling authority. Is that correct?
Correct. I have no vote on the party for the basis of remaining neutral, although I am a long-standing libertarian.
Oh, I understand that. I fully respect you. That's not the point. The point is to try and get.
Did we lose you, Bruce? Did we lose him?
Unmute yourself. Where is
Full
Bruce?
advice.
Hang on a minute, Bruce. He can't be heard with this on.
Okay, okay, go ahead again.
My thing muted. I muted it for some reason, accidentally. Sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
I've provided a conference room mic, but that doesn't allow me to hear. Okay, so moving on from this point, do we not need to have, we have a motion on the floor? What is the motion?
Steve, would you repeat your motion or your question or whatever it was?
I move that we solicit a determination from a registered parliamentarian concerning the LPCO board's December 2020 Constitution and Bylaws Committee appointment.
And that met with no objection.
Right.
So here we are. So I think I've outlined the situation as best as I can. Obviously, the board and the members have to take it from there. Is there anything else I can clarify or assist with before I let you all go tonight?
Ms. Harlow has her hand up still. Do you want to answer the question?
Sure.
Go ahead, Ms. Harlow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Obviously, on a lot of things, reasonable people can disagree. I would say committee formation is not defined in the bylaws, and when things are not defined, it is up to the body to determine its own bylaws. And while they can act with and ask for opinions, I do think that is within the control of the board to interpret committee formation in a different manner, since considering all the fact patterns, rather than disenfranchising 3 members of this committee, because it is a package deal. So I'd just like to remind the board that since these terms are not defined, it is up to you guys to interpret the bylaws. If the convention disagrees, they can rebuke you, but right now you are the governing body and interpret the bylaws.
I would have to agree with that point, that the determination of what formation means, does it mean it happens over 1 meeting, 2 meetings, 17 meetings? How does formation, like when is it actually formed versus what is complete? It does not specify. That is my interpretation, that formation is the beginning of the nominations and the appointments of 5 members. That seems to me like a good starting point. The conclusion of that meeting, that's up to the board to interpret. It seems to me that if there was no record that the meeting was to be continued or old business was to be continued, that seems to me the logical stopping point would be the end of the November meeting. However, Ms. Harlos is correct in that being that it's not specifically defined what commencement and conclusion are, that is something that the board will have to arm wrestle about. But that was a good point, Ms. Harlos. Any other questions? Any other things I can answer in the next 3 minutes?
More stuff to go through, Mark.
What's that?
We have some more things to go through.
Okay. Well, then I will say goodnight to you all and good luck with the rest of your meeting. Just to let you know, board and other members, I'm always available for my parliamentary opinion.
What is your final opinion before you go, Mark?
My final opinion is, just as I just stated a moment ago, that the commencement of the board happened in November with the election of 5 board members. Since there was no continuation that can be noted that I can see in writing of any kind, that the meeting for that board members, appointing the board members, concluded in November, and therefore any subsequent nominations were not at the commencement of when they should have happened. And so unfortunately those affiliate members are not valid.
Mark?
But
Thank you, Mr. Goddard.
You're very welcome. Good luck, everyone.
Who was
Thank you.
calling, Mark?
Madam Chair, I move that we read John Gersman's point of order into the meeting so that it can be entered into the minutes.
Who is speaking? I can't see.
Bruce Griffith.
Oh, Bruce, okay. We are still at the previous motion? No? Okay, we've listened to the parliamentarian. Now it's a motion by Mr. Griffith. Would you repeat your motion, Mr. Griffith?
I move that we read John Gersman's point of order into the meeting so that it can be entered into the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any objections? Any discussion? Any objections? There are no objections. Could you go ahead and read it?
Yes,
Yes, who's speaking?
this is Josh.
There's Josh that calls for, there's one objection that calls for division. Should we discuss or take it to a vote? Is there any discussion? Josh, did you want to discuss?
I just wanted to know why this point of order was done by email like 2 weeks after the meeting.
Mr. Gershman, would you reply to that question since you made the point of order?
Yeah, well, I didn't really find out. I didn't read Robert's page 251 until about that time, and I realized that we actually had an invalid vote, and it seemed like something that should be brought up as soon as possible. Robert's kind of made the impression there's no sense in delaying on something like that, so that's why. That was the reason.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Lallement?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Lallement. Mr. Griffith, oh wait. There is a motion at the table. It's currently being discussed by the board. Is there any questions by the board? And yes, I muted your microphone, Ms. Harlos. You're not on the board.
I believe here in the committee room, we have a question about whether my motion is actually a motion or a point of order.
Speak to parliamentary procedure, I will. This is not being handled at all, like, right.
There's background noise. Can we?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Harlows. Without objection from the board, we will listen from Ms. Harlows.
I just want to give.
Oh, I have an objection.
I have an objection.
There's an objection. There are objections to listening from you, Ms. Harlows, so there will be no public commentary at this time.
The board gets to vote on that, Madam Chair. You don't get to unilaterally say that.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Pickerel.
I object because we have a motion on the floor that's had a second. You call for unanimous consent. Josh Lallman objected to unanimous consent, so therefore we have to have a voice vote on that motion to present it to.
Is there any discussion on the motion first? I think that some clarification that Ms. Harlows wanted to make some kind of clarification that it's not a motion, but a point of order.
Okay,
I just wanted to give you guys some parliamentary information, no debate.
Mr. Pickerel, are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's not what I objected to. I was just making sure I knew where we were at with the order of business.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pickerel. Go ahead, Ms. Harlows.
Okay, where you guys really are at is John's point of order can't be read into the record because it hasn't been made at a meeting. What needs to happen is that Mr. Hirschman needs to actually make his point of order. You need to make a ruling, which now, considering the advice of the parliamentarian, can be different because none of that has actually happened at a meeting. Then the board has the opportunity to appeal your ruling. That is the proper procedure at this point. John Hirschman's point of order does not exist yet. He has to make it. You have to rule, and then the board has the opportunity to appeal. Parliamentary wise, that is what should happen.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Information.
Yes, Ms. Ryan.
I was under the impression that we voted through email and it was without objection that we would accept his point of order.
No, you do not do that by email. Madam Chairman, that is not appropriate.
Our email is public.
The board has a standing rule that only non-substantive matters can be had by email.
What standing rule is that, Ms. Harlow, since we do not have any standing rules?
Yes, you do. They were adopted last term and they're still in effect till rescinded by the board. And I have a copy of them on my hard drive. If the board doesn't know its own standing rules, that's not my fault.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a statement.
Go ahead, Mr. Pickerel.
The reason you can't have unanimous consent by email is because you can't verify everyone has received it and responded that they don't object. I, for one, didn't ever respond to that because I never received it. So you can't say there was no objection because I had no chance to object.
I was not the person that said that, but okay. Thank you.
I stand corrected.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan. So, I guess, Mr. Griffith.
Madam Chairman.
Mr. Mulder.
So where are we at right now? We're at about 8 o'clock. Where are we at on this
You're
motion?
at the point of order that Mr. Griffith just made, or motion that Mr. Griffith just made, that Ms. Harlow says is not a motion, that the point of order should have been should have been made by Mr. Jershman so that we could enter it to the record later with my ruling. And so Mr. Jershman, although I disagree with Ms. Harlow's based on what I read on Robert's rules, but I am not a parliamentarian and neither is she. I tend to agree with Mr. Goddard on his ruling that the meeting ended in November. Mr. Jershman, would you like to make your point of order again? Bruce, do you have any objection to that?
It's on.
As a matter of fact, I was trying to rescind my motion
Okay, thank
so
you.
that Mr. Hirschman could make his point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Griffith. Go ahead, Mr. Hirschman.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. A motion has been adopted that conflicts with the bylaws of the Libertarian Party of Colorado, namely Article 5, Committees, Section 3. Each chartered affiliate may appoint one member of the committee. Should an affiliate not appoint as committee member, the board of directors may appoint an additional at-large member at the time of committee formation. The CMD committee was formed at the November LPCO board meeting. An additional at-large committee member was appointed at the December LPCO board meeting in clear violation of the stipulation to do so at the time of committee formation. For parliamentary authority, any action so taken is null and void, and that's at Roberts, page 251, line 25. A point of order can be made at any time during the continuation of the breach, according to Roberts 251, line 6. And that is it. Oops.
Implication of your point of order, John, would also be Jeffco and Boulder.
I didn't realize that, because I'm not sure I accept what he said about.
But I'm just saying that.
Ms. Harlows, would you please not speak during everybody else's speaking because it is distracting? Thank you.
Madam Chairman, this is John Pickerel.
Yes, Mr. Pickerel.
How do you rule on the point of order?
I agree with the point of order. I believe that the point of order is in order.
Madam Chairman, I appeal the decision of the chair.
There has been an appeal from the decision of the chair.
If I may make a brief statement.
Yes, Mr. Griffith.
In order to try and gain unity and harmony within the party, I second the appeal.
Thank you, Mr. Griffith. There is an appeal and it has been seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chairman, I'd like appeal, please.
You were echoing bad. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, I would like to comment on my appeal.
Go ahead.
Okay, the reason I appeal is because, as was stated by the parliamentarian, interpretation of bylaws is advised by the parliamentarian, but the parliamentarian doesn't make the final decision on that.
No, the chairman does.
The final decision is made by the board until such time we have a convention, and then ultimately it's decided by the membership. That was clearly stated by Mr. Goddard. So as the one who made that motion in December, I stand by it. We have that is not very clearly stated in the bylaws as far as when the committee is formed. We've seen that go back and forth. And I think that we as a board should have a vote on what our interpretation is. And I will live with that. If it's against what my interpretation is, that's fine. I just think that it ought to be a vote of the board, and we should make that now.
Thank you, Mr. Pickerel. Any further discussion?
Can I make a comment?
Who is that?
Madam Chair, this is Steve Gallant.
Yeah, go ahead.
As much as I hate to lose the people from the committee, I am kind of a strict constructionist, and I have to go with what Mr. Goddard said. I think it's the only logical solution. We shouldn't have messed up. It was all the mistakes we made before that and the errors before that we really, those are the things we need to avoid in future.
Chair.
Mr. Hirschman. There's an echo. Go ahead, Mr. Hirschman.
So in my case, I'm seconding the appeal strictly because I want the board to vote. It is my intention to vote against the appeal. However, in fairness to all parties, I seconded the objection so that the entire board would be involved in the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Griffith.
Madam Chairman,
Who's that? Eric?
Vice Chair Mulder speaking.
Go ahead, Mr. Mulder.
Madam Chairman, I call the question.
The question has been called. Are we sure that the discussion has been finished?
Madam Chairman, I second.
Thank you. I'll call to vote.
We have to have a 2/3 vote to call the question to end debate first.
That's what I'm calling to vote for, to end debate.
Thank you.
Vice Chair,
Yes.
Treasurer,
Yes.
affiliates,
Yes.
fundraising,
Yes.
campaigns,
Yes.
outreach,
Yes.
membership,
Yes.
communications,
Yes.
secretary.
Yes.
It's unanimous. We will end debate. Now I will proceed to taking the vote on on my ruling, on the, what is it? The vote on the appeal to the ruling. If you vote yes, you are agreeing with the appeal. If you vote no, you are disagreeing with the appeal and agreeing with my ruling. Is that clear?
Yes.
Clear.
Okay. Vice Chair,
No.
Treasurer,
No.
affiliates,
No.
fundraising,
No.
campaigns,
No.
outreach,
Yes.
legislative. Oh, there's no legislative. Membership,
Yes.
communications,
Yes.
secretary.
No.
What's the count, Mr. Secretary?
We have 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 against.
The ruling stands. There can't be 8 against.
7 against, sorry.
It's like there's not that many people.
Some of us vote twice.
All right.
Oh, geez, Russian.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Miss Ryan.
may I make a point of personal privilege, I think it is?
Can we finish this
Yes.
ruling? The decision of the chair stands with 6 yeses and 3 nos, since I abstained. Go ahead, Ms. Ryan, and then we'll
I have
continue.
7 yeses.
There's only 10 members on the board.
Yeah, do you want me to read off the yeses?
Yeah.
Vice Treasurer, affiliates, regions, fundraising, campaigns. Oh, sorry, I see my problem. 6.
Thank you.
Mr. Secretary, Vice voted no on that.
Correct. Oh, I'm sorry, those are all the against ones.
Those were the against changing the decision of the chair, right?
Right, against the appeal.
So the ruling stands. Ms. Ryan has a point of personal privilege, and then we will continue the agenda as it stands.
I want to thank the committee. I feel that if we're going to adhere to the bylaws, and like we did last August, when we missed the deadline by 1 day, and we couldn't have a convention because of that, I think this is just as important and that we should follow our bylaws. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan. I have nothing to, affiliates, do you have anything to add to your report? Since we let you go first, go ahead and finish your report. Steve?
Let's see. I just wanted to add to my report that wanted to thank Richie Frangiosa in Park County for stepping up, Chad Zimmerman and Adams, and Robert Ballard in Mesa. Mesa's getting ready to affiliate. They're stepping up to run the development groups and the new affiliate. And I want to thank Mark Cavan for getting those Chad and Richie involved, engaged in their county activities. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Vice, I have nothing to add to my report. Vice Chair?
Madam Chairman, Eric Mulder, Vice Chair of the Libertarian Party of Colorado speaking. On the 6th of January, I participated in a wonderful presentation from the LNC staffers, Kara Schultz and Apollo Pizzell. They do wonderful work and they do amazing things with campaigns. If you want to run at the local level, those are your go-to people. They gave a beautiful presentation about creating a landscape memo, and I will include the link to that, which Kara puts on YouTube after the meeting is concluded. I will put the link to that in the Zoom chat, and if you would like that, you can message me at vicechair@lpcolorado.org, and I will send that to you as well.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
And it's just one more thing, Madam Chairman, real quick.
Yes, go ahead.
The video is about 30 minutes long, so it's not very long at all.
Thank you. Mr. Treasurer.
I have nothing to add.
Fundraising?
I have one thing to add, and that's that we are working on an anniversary event for the 50th anniversary of the party. And just wanted to let the committee know that that's in the works.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan. Campaigns?
Add to my report.
Outreach?
I just wanted to remind everybody that this Thursday is the inaugural LPCO Leadership Forum. We sent out an email Friday night through the CRM. I'm not sure if if a lot of people received it.
I got it.
If you did, let me. Oh, you did get it?
Yep.
Okay, good. So yeah, that's Thursday night at 7:30. It's going to be on Zoom. The event is posted on the site. It has the link and the password. And the other thing I want to say is I will not be pursuing another term as outreach director. It's just not for me. Tonight is an example of it. It's just not what I thought it would be. There's too much turmoil, but I will continue to, add value where I can until the convention. But that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Cavan. Legislative is vacant. Membership?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. In addition to my report, I'd like to make the following statement. When I joined the Liberty Movement, it was through the Ron Paul campaign, and I really like the message there where our cause is the cause of liberty. Our cause is to carry forth the message of liberty. And I've discussed this with several people over the last months, that I too do not intend to seek a second term. My cause is the cause of liberty. It's not the cause of splitting hairs over the bylaws. The world's burning down today, and we're arguing about bylaws. We spent 75% of our meeting on bylaws. They're important, but if that's all we care about, we're a self-licking ice cream cone. We serve no purpose. Individual liberty is under threat like never before. Free speech is being undermined. Petitioning your government is now looked at as a crime. Forced quarantine was mentioned before. Mandatory vaccines are a threat on the horizon. Mask mandates without scientific justification is commonplace now. On economic liberty fronts, money printing is like never before. We've added $3 trillion to the national debt in a little over 3 months. Stimulus checks are going out to everybody. Modern monetary theory is now commonplace. Business bailouts are commonplace. At the same time, we're going to shut down businesses. We're paying people not to work. We're paying businesses not to conduct business. And we're arguing about bylaws. I just wanted to let you know why I don't seek a second term. The reason I'm not resigning outright is because I wanted to give everyone here a chance to have plenty of time to recruit a replacement, to whatever replacement that comes in, because I do wish this board well. And I hope that you can move forward by attracting quality people that can have a clear vision for doing what I think would be the best tool for the Libertarian Party, which is carrying on the message of liberty. And the bylaws should be, it should be very much in the background. I understand it's important to uphold our own bylaws, but it shouldn't be our primary purpose. Pardon me if I don't seem very interested in the bylaws discussion. But I want to make that statement. Please start thinking about who you want as replacements on the board, both for myself and Mr. Cavan. I had discussions with him in the past, and I believe, hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn for him, but he wants you to have time to replace him too. We're not just leaving you with the vacancy that you're in a hurry to replace. I think sometimes that's why we get in the position we're at. And I really do hope that this party can do great things. Right now, I see my purpose is I have to go forward in a different vessel than the Libertarian Party of Colorado. I'll continue to stay active as a Libertarian, but not as a board member. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pickerel. Communications?
Nothing to that.
Secretary?
Sorry about that. Nothing to add to my report.
Okay. Standing committee reports, if any. Technology?
I have nothing.
Database?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay. I would like to encourage the local affiliates to post their meetings on the website. It's important to get the word out. That's all I have.
Thank you, David. Ad hoc committee reports. Welcome committee. Not here. Campaigns committee. Issues, legislative. Let's go to bylaws, mandated committee reports, if any. Platform committee.
The platform committee had its first meeting on Sunday. I was elected the permanent chair. Our next meeting is this coming Sunday, and I will be getting with Mr. Aiken about publicizing that to the members. Members are always welcome, and member comment is always welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Harlows. Constitution and Bylaws Committee, and then Convention Committee. Those are both Ms. Ryan. Go ahead.
Yes, the bylaws, and I have nothing to add to the report. The Bylaws Committee, the Constitution Bylaws Committee is continuing to do our work sessions so that we can flesh out what we think we might want to change. It has come to my attention that somebody's been saying we have changed things. We have not changed anything as of yet. We had one meeting, and the rest of these have been work sessions. We will start voting as soon as we put the whole document together. as far as the convention committee, we have a date and a place. I put that in my report, but just for the record, May 21st through May 23rd at the Denver West Marriott, which is out by the Denver West area. And I think that's all I have right now. We should have.
What date is it again?
Huh?
What date is it again?
May
1st
through May 23rd.
Awesome. I think I need to put out a call to convention.
Oh, I thought you were going. Okay.
May I speak about the CMB committee?
There's a, who is speaking?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Gershman, it's the convention committee they're talking about right now.
Yeah, but, okay.
A question about this. I did ask for parliamentary direction on what we were doing, and according to Roberts, it's absolutely correct. And John, did you have something to say?
John, did you have a question on the CNB or on the convention?
Yeah, on the CMB. I'm sorry, I have to mute the mic and then the, speaker and all that crap. So it's taking me a little.
Okay, go ahead.
According to the way I read the bylaws, the affiliates have until 4 months before convention to appoint their committee members to the CMB committee. So I disagree with Mr. Goddard that the two affiliate appointed member appointments were invalid. I believe they were valid. And I think maybe the board should vote on that.
Is this a point of order that you're making, Mr. Gershman, or a motion?
I don't know. I think it's a motion that we know. Bruce says no.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's a point of order if you believe that an action that has been previously taken is invalid.
Well, that's not what I'm saying, no. The parliamentarian stated that he felt that all three committee appointees should happen after the November meeting were invalid. And I challenged that based on my reading of the bylaws.
Right.
And I think that's something that the board should decide. So I don't know if that's a.
Madam Chair?
John, in your point of order that you made earlier today, that is passed, did you include the affiliates or not?
No.
Somebody else had just said, Madam Chair, was who said that?
That was Mr. Griffith.
Mr. Griffith, go ahead.
So I believe we're at a juncture where we're again getting wrapped around the axle, but the statements of Mr. Goddard, while appreciated and instructional, do not bear the weight of standing in the board. They are merely advice.
But it's been pulled on already. It doesn't matter if he included it in his. Sorry.
Madam Chair, Ms. Harlos is asking to be recognized.
Without objection from the board. Was there any objection from the board for Ms. Harlos to be recognized?
I object.
Let's continue with the discussion with the board members. And
You guys get to vote. You guys get to vote on whether to hear from me or not. She does not get to.
Karen Ann, is please.
I'm trying to find my.
Thank you.
We will hear from the board members first, and then we'll take that vote and see if Ms. Harlos has something to say. Any other board member has anything to say regarding this?
Steve here.
Yes, Mr. Gallant.
I think Mr. Goddard made it pretty clear, and whether or not we may not have included, said specifically the affiliates, but the effect is the same. We said that the business ended at the November meeting. Anything after that was not valid. And I think we've already decided that.
I agree with Steve Gallant.
Overturning the appeal. Thank you.
Who said that he agrees with Steve Gallant?
Vice Chair Mulder.
Yeah, would you please not speak over other people? That way I can find out who is speaking. Anybody else?
My apologies.
That's okay, Mr. Mulder. Anyone else on the board have something to say regarding this? Now, is there, Ms. Harlos has her hand up still. Would anyone, let's call to a vote to see if she wants to, if we'll allow her to speak. All the ones in favor, just raise your hands on your little thing on your computer.
You do that.
Or just say aye.
Aye.
2 hands here and John's.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, all the ones opposed.
Nay.
There's
Nay.
only one, 2 opposed.
Nope.
3. Mr. Pickrell, is that a yes or a no? Mr. Pickrell's opposed. That's 4 opposed. Mr. Spalding?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I'm opposed.
Oh, you're opposed. Okay.
We're part of the 4.
All right. All right. Any further? Are you, Mr. Pickrell? Are you? Sorry, Mr. Jershman. Are you making a motion at this time to change what was said in the point of order?
Yes, I didn't make the motion, but I would like to. I'd like to move that we recognize the nominations by Boulder and was it Jefferson, I think, counties, that their nominations of C&D committee members is valid. Or
Is there a
accepted.
second? Is there a second on this motion?
Second, just so we can vote.
Okay, I am going to start the discussion. I believe that if we do not allow Mr. Seebeck to be on, we should not allow any other appointments that were made after that November meeting. It's not about personalities or about people on that. It is about what the bylaws say. And unfortunately, I'm going to go with the advice of the parliamentarian. And I would say that we cannot, make one exception for the board and make exceptions for the affiliates, but not for the board. And that it would be, even though it would be hard, I think that we have to treat all of the appointments equally. I would like to ask the people who were appointed by their affiliates or by the board at a later date to please participate in the meetings and to give their advice, to be, there, even though they don't have a vote, I would like to hear their voice. Especially the affiliate representatives that are, speaking for their affiliate and for what they had. I would actually like to hear what they have to say, whether they are on the committee or not. But I think that if we made the ruling on one that is a no, then it should be a no for everyone. And that's my opinion. anyone else have any further discussion on this?
May I speak once
Mr.
more on it?
Pickrell, go ahead.
I just want to say that I based mine on the bylaws.
Sorry, somebody else talking.
Yes, Mr. Gershman, thank you. Mr. Pickrell, you had your hand up?
Yeah, you articulated my position. I just want to support your position.
Thank you, Mr. Pickrell. Anyone else? Any further discussion?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Mulder?
I agree with the assessment of the parliamentarian and the ruling of the chair that if those three were invalid, then all three need to be ruled invalid.
Thank you, Mr. Mulder. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair.
Who's speaking?
Mr. Griffith again.
Okay, go ahead.
Can we have somebody read the section of the bylaws that's pertinent to this so that we all know what the bylaws state?
I'd be glad to
read it.
Oh, you want to read it?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, because I do have it open to that section.
Section 1, the Constitution and Bylaws Committee and the Platform Committee shall each consist of 5 at-large board members selected by the board and an additional member selected by each chartered affiliate. The board shall solicit applications for the members of the Constitution and Bylaws Committee as well as the Platform Committee and set the appointment date for these positions by announcement to all members at least 6 months prior to the convention at which amendments to the platform, constitution, and bylaws are considered. The board shall appoint 5 at-large members at a board meeting held at least 1 month after the final solicitation, but no later than 4 months prior to the convention at which amendments to the platform, constitution, and bylaws are considered. If any subsequent vacancies occur in the initially appointed at-large positions, the board may select members to fill the vacancies. The board shall select the committee chairs from the members of each committee. Section B, each chartered affiliate may appoint 1 member to each committee. Should an affiliate not appoint a committee member, the board may appoint an additional at-large member at the time of committee formation. The board shall solicit 1 committee member from each chartered affiliate on the same schedule implemented by the board pursuant to subsection 1 above and at its meeting for the appointment of the members of the committees. It shall confirm such committee members as have been certified by the affiliate representatives. If a committee member appointed by an affiliate resigns from a committee or fails to attend 2 consecutive committee votes, the affiliate may appoint a replacement. That's the end of what's germane.
Correct. That is the end of it. And that's basically what the parliamentarian ruled on. Or
Madam Chair.
his advice on that rule. Yes, go ahead.
If it isn't too late, I withdraw my motion. Because having heard it, instead of reading it, my understanding is slightly changed. And I see the point of Mr. Goddard.
Thank you, Mr. Gershman. Is there, I think it's fine to withdraw the motion. Right? I hope I'm right. Yeah. It's the motion has been withdrawn. Let's continue with the convention committee.
Because the motion has been made and seconded, it is no longer the proposer's motion, but it's the board's motion. We have to vote on it at this point. It can't be withdrawn after a second has been made.
Thank you, Mr. Pickrell.
I call a question.
Question's been called.
Second.
Okay. Vice Chair? A no would be that we leave everything as is. A yes would be that the motion originally made and withdrawn by Mr. Gershman would pass.
Do
Vice
we
Chair,
have to vote on calling the
Madam-
question first?
oh, let's vote on calling the question. Vice Chair,
Yes.
Treasurer,
Yes.
Secretary,
Yes.
Communications,
Yes.
affiliates,
I apologize, I cut out, my Zoom cut out. What is the motion we're voting on?
on calling the question.
Declaration.
Yes.
Membership,
Yes.
outreach,
Yes.
fundraising.
Yes.
The question's been called. Now we will vote on the motion. A yes vote would have the motion that was withdrawn become a permanent record. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, the motion would pass with a yes vote, no votes or against the motion to allow the affiliates to keep those appointments.
Madam Chairman, I'm still confused on what a yes vote and a no vote means. I'm sorry.
A yes vote is that yes, you agree with the motion that was made.
And what was that motion?
Would you read the motion, please?
John Hedgerson moved that we recognize the previous affiliate appointments to the Bylaws Committee.
Okay, so if I understand it correctly, a yes vote would keep the affiliates with Jefferson County and Boulder County appointments, and a no vote would mean that those appointments are null and void along with Delta's, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry.
So, Vice Chair,
No.
Treasurer,
No.
Secretary,
No.
Communications,
No.
Membership,
No.
affiliates, Steve, you need to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, once again, my connection's unstable here.
Uh-huh.
The motion,
The motion is to keep the appointments that were made after the November meeting by the affiliates as valid, and so that would be a yes vote. A no vote would remove them, would make their appointment null and void, along with the appointment that was made by the board.
no.
Membership, did I get yours?
Mine was a no vote.
Okay. Fundraising,
No.
I think I got everyone. Did I miss anybody?
Outreach, no.
Outreach, sorry. Outreach,
No.
Campaigns, no.
campaigns. Unanimous, no. From what I can see, is that correct, Mike?
That's correct.
It was the motion did not pass unanimously. Okay, proceed with convention committee. Betty Rose,
I'm sorry.
the rest of your report on convention.
Oh, just that we've set the date and that we hope that tickets will go on sale by the end of this month. I'll present a budget to the board through email. And if there's anyone out there that is attending this meeting that wants to help with the convention, just call me and we will add you to the convention committee.
I have a comment about the Constitution Bylaws Committee in a minute. Go ahead, Mr. Pickering.
Betty Rose, what did you say the date of the convention will be?
It's May 21st. There'll be an evening event on May 21st. And then May 22nd and 23rd will be business and voting for the board. and hopefully lots of seminars and things.
Would you send me an email with the full details so that I can make the call to convention?
I will send you the contract, well, the letter of intent from the hotel.
Thank you.
May I ask a question? This is outreach.
Go ahead, Mr. Cavan.
If the first day of the convention is May 21st, that means people who want to participate as a delegate and vote, they have until February 20th to register?
90 days prior. I don't know what the exact date would be.
That's February 20th. So yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question. I had a comment about the Constitution Bylaws Committee.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Mulder.
would the Constitution and Bylaws Committee business be considered finished at this time?
The Convention Committee business would be finished at this time. Regarding Constitution and Bylaws Committee, there was a complaint received regarding one of the guests at the Constitution Bylaws Committee by the complaints committee, and the complainant has asked to censor the person who made to use profanity. I will not censor that person at this time. And it was also suggested that we try to keep peace, but I will ask that decorum be maintained by all guests at any meeting. And if they cannot maintain decorum, they may be kicked out from any meeting at the discretion of the chair of that committee. That was the only thing that I wanted to notify everyone of. I received that email today. And no, I will not censor the person who did that, but I do request that the use of profanity not happen at any committee meeting. And that's it. Thank you very much. Now, anything else with Constitution bylaws on your report? Nothing to add? Anything more?
Nothing to add.
Eric, now we would be concluded with a Constitution and bylaws business.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do we have anything else? Agenda. We have unfinished business of a legislative director that needs to be appointed.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Mulder.
there is a person who's messaged the board about being interested in the position by the name of Nick Tomczyk. Do we have a application from them?
The only thing that I received from him was a letter or an email to the board showing his intent, but we have not received like an application per se.
Have we received applications from anyone else, Madam Chair?
No, we have not.
I would like to make a motion.
Is the person present? That's just a wondering. Is he present? Is he still interested? Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Mulder.
I move that we not appoint anybody until applications have been received.
Is there a second? Do we have a second to not appoint anybody until the applications have been received?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Any objections to not appointing anyone at this time until we've received applications? There appears to be no objection. If you object, speak now. No, without objection, the motion passes. We will postpone having someone on the legislative committee until we have received applications. There is new business, a motion to purchase a voter file for $50 from database. Any, I'd like
I
to.
second.
Second, okay. Any objection?
Discussion.
Discussion? We buy this every quarter. Any discussion?
We don't buy it every quarter. In a previous motion, we said we were going to buy it right before election season so people could use it for walking lists, and right before the convention so we could verify 90 days of membership. And I think that's fine that we buy another disc, but if we wait a month, then we'll be able to verify that everybody was registered as a Libertarian for 90 days for the actual convention.
David? David Adkin, would you speak to this?
Yes, I'm fine with waiting till February.
And what's the date on February that we would have to wait for?
Well, any time after the first.
Yeah, actually, anytime after the 20th. And I think the disc comes out at the end of the month.
Well, there's a disc that comes out basically January 31st, February 28th, so on. And my request was for the December 31st disc, but I'm fine with the January 31st disc.
But what about the people who register after January 31st and before February 20th? We can just buy another disc. It's $50, but.
Okay, if you want to wait till the end of February, I'm okay with that.
As long as it works for what project you're working on.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Mike.
Oh, David, as long as that doesn't interfere with the project that you're working on, will it still be okay if we wait until then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Did you guys want to approve the budget and just allow him to allow David to buy the disc when at that date? That way we don't have to make a motion again next month.
is this motion going to pass without objection?
Is there any objection to that? I don't hear any objection, Mike.
Okay.
Without objection, the $50 passes and the disc will be bought at the end of February.
Okay.
That is all for new business. Looks like that is all for all of the business we have. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Dershman.
I didn't put this in the agenda. I should have, but shouldn't we be doing something about having an affiliate approved that does not qualify as an affiliate?
I agree. I see a few heads shaking yes, or nodding. Going, yeah, nodding yes. Mr.
Madam Chair,
Gallant, yes.
I move that we disaffiliate Delta because they have no members, no treasurer, and are not filing state required reports.
Is there
Second.
a second?
Second.
Who was that who moved?
Discussion. That was Mr. Griffith.
Griffith, campaigns.
There is a motion to disaffiliate Delta because they have no treasurer, no reporting of any kind, that no state reports have been filed, and what was the other thing? No members.
And if I could speak to that, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Golland.
I sent we did an email blast, and I know that Jay tried to find replacements beforehand for quite some time. We just haven't had any luck drumming up any activity or interest at this point.
Any further discussion?
Yes. If we disaffiliate them and they manage to resurrect some membership and officers, can we simply recognize them again? Or do they have to go through the whole development group and all that stuff all over again?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Mulder.
I can speak to that question. Affiliates can skip the development group process and go straight to affiliation if they choose, which I personally recommend. But if they wish to be development groups, that's on them.
Does that answer your question?
It does, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
just to be clear, can we have somebody read, point of information is I guess what this is. Can we have somebody read the requirements of an affiliate, what they must do?
Who has that bylaw? It is.
I recommend the affiliate development director read that, Madam Chair.
Steve, would you read that?
I don't have it in front of me. It's going to take me a moment
I could read it if you'd like to.
Yes, that would be fine.
All right. Article 1, Party Affiliates, Section 1, organizations applying for charter as affiliates shall make such applications on a standard petition form adopted by the board. The petition shall include ratification of the statement of principles of the National Libertarian Party. The petition and the ratification shall be signed by no fewer than 5 members. Section 2, affiliates shall make known to the board the affiliate representative to whom all party business shall be directed. The affiliate representative shall be a member. Section 3, affiliates may choose to accept as associate members libertarians who are members of the National Libertarian Party, even though they have signed an approved voter application form establishing their party affiliation as unaffiliated rather than libertarian. If adopted, this policy must be included in the affiliate's bylaws. Associate members may be allowed to vote at local affiliate meetings and receive newsletters and mailings from the affiliate. Associate members shall not be allowed to vote at the convention, serve as an officer of the party, including at the affiliate level, or seek nomination as a Libertarian Party candidate for any public office.
Madam Chair, it's actually in the Constitution.
Oh, that's the, sorry, that was what it said about affiliates. Constitution.
I have the text if you'd like me to read it.
Article 10.
Section 3. The board shall have the power to revoke the affiliate status of any organization by a 3/4 vote of the current board if said organization supports candidates, policies, or positions inconsistent with the statement of principles of the National Libertarian Party or the state party platform, fails to hold an annual meeting with at least 5 members where officers are elected with contact information and minutes submitted to the state board of directors, or fails to report to the proper governmental agency their Fair Campaign Practices Act filing. 30 days notice by certified mail shall be given to the affiliate representative of the affected affiliate. Section 2, every organization so chartered shall ratify the statement of principles of the National Libertarian Party. They shall also submit contact information for their officers, directors, who shall include at least a chair and a treasurer, being separate people. They shall maintain at least 5 members, publish their bylaws to those members and the board, and file their initial fair campaign Practices Act filings as necessary.
And if they wish to reaffiliate, that would be section 1. Would you read it, please?
The board may charter as affiliates those organizations requesting such status to represent counties or other geographical entities if requested by affected members and approved by the board. Affiliates shall be chartered for, but shall not be limited to, the following purposes: nominating candidates for public office, working to elect libertarian candidates and to promote libertarian principles through political information and educational activities, and selecting representatives to appropriate party activities. Each affiliate so chartered shall declare, for the purposes of liaison between the party and the chartered affiliate, an affiliate representative.
Okay, is that answer your question? Who wanted this to be read?
Campaigns.
Campaigns wanted it read? Okay. So does that answer the question on how easy it would be for them to come back if necessary? So
Yes.
There is a motion to disaffiliate Delta County. It has been seconded. Any further discussion?
I would like to speak, David.
Mr. Atkin, go ahead.
It seems to me that the sections of the Constitution read by Mr. Griffith included the statement that the board needs to send a registered letter to the affiliate in order to disaffiliate them.
That would be after we vote to disaffiliate, correct? We can't just send them a letter without a vote.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Ryan?
I believe that we would be voting to send the letter with that states our intent to disaffiliate. As David said, I don't think we can disaffiliate before we send the letter. I could be wrong.
Griffith, would you like to modify your motion?
Notify Delta County of their pending disaffiliation unless they come into compliance with maintaining 5 members, holding an annual meeting, filing with the state the required Campaign Finance Act notifications, and
Chairman and Treasurer.
And that they must send the minutes to the state party.
Okay, would you read again the motion as modified?
Is Eric reading that or am I?
Did you get it all, Mike?
Just that we are, there's a motion. No, I do not have all the details. Just to send the warning letter to nobody.
Bruce, would you give him all the details again?
Let's just limit it to this. The motion is to send a 30-day notice to the Delta County affiliate to come into compliance with their requirements as stated in the Constitution of the state party.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chairman, and kind of a point of order as well.
Mr. Mulder, go ahead.
There is a tracer filing for the Libertarian Party of Delta County that has a physical mailing address, so the letter notice can be sent to them that way, I suppose.
Good.
There's even a name and a phone number and an email. That's all I had, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mulder.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Pickrell.
so when, if Delta is disaffiliated and they have a tracer filing with the Secretary of State's office, it's my understanding that to disband their account, they have to liquidate any assets that are in their campaign finance treasury. I'm wondering what's going to happen, whatever funds they have in their bank account that's on file with the Secretary of State's office. So we don't sacrifice those funds to the Secretary of State's office, that we use those for our purposes, not state's purposes. I just raised that point. Maybe we ought to look into that and make sure we don't waste that money.
I believe
Money belongs to them, not to us.
Well, is there any of them there anymore?
David here, question.
Yes, Mr. Atkin.
Can we ask the Delta affiliate to submit those funds to the state party for or to be held for any subsequent reorganization of Delta County?
I don't see why not. It could be included in the letter.
That could be easily done.
Madam Chair, if I may add,
Yes, Mr. Griffith.
if there is any chance that we can find 5 members in Delta County who would be willing to take on the role of directors, that would be if we can find 5 members who are willing to step up as board members of Delta County affiliate, if there's any chance that we can do that, that's obviously preferable.
Absolutely.
Right.
Madam Chairman, David.
Yes, Mr. Davis.
Seems to me that we had chosen a successor to Jay Stokesbury recently. I think Steve would know about that.
Yes.
I can't remember his name.
Yes, there is a name in the database.
That's correct. We do have a contact there, but there has been no activity. He's just a contact at best.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion to send a letter to Delta County to either comply with, to get into compliance with state law and with the party will be sent out, to be sent out is on the table right now. Is there any further discussion or should we go ahead and vote?
Who's going to send this out? The secretary or the chair?
Or affiliates. It's an affiliate.
It is an affiliate issue. I think it should come from affiliates.
It's an affiliate issue, but this is coming from the board.
From the board, then I should, it probably falls on me. I think. But the secretary could send it out as well. Doesn't matter.
Well, somebody needs to do it, and I thought it'd be a good idea to establish that instead of leaving it floating.
I can take care of it.
Thank you, Mike. The secretary will take care of it. 'Cause he's awesome like that.
Call a question.
There is a motion to call the question. Is there a second?
Second.
We are going to vote on calling the question.
Can we
Actually,
vote
is there
without
any
objection?
opposed to calling the question? There's no opposed to calling the question. Let's go ahead and vote. Is there any opposed to this motion passing? I don't hear any opposed. Is there any opposed to the motion? If opposed, speak now. Without opposition, the motion passes. A letter will be sent out by secretary to ask Delta County to comply.
I apologize to the board for not putting that in the agenda beforehand.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn,
Second.
and it's been seconded. And hang on. And we are going to adjourn. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
I got my mallet.
It's official.
It's official. The meeting's adjourned. Holy shit. Sorry, we should stop the